Yeah, so I knew this TV was supposed to be a big deal. I just didn't realize that it was literally going to be such a big deal. I mean, we had to move the coffee table and the couch, and that was just to get the box in here. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Caleb Dennison, and for those of you not familiar, this would be the TCL 8 Series television, more specifically Mini LED QLED TV. What is Mini LED? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But the important thing is that this TV may be the first real challenge to OLED that we've seen yet. And, you know, at a slightly lower price. To put things in perspective, I think the 65-inch LG C9 goes for about $2,500 these days. This 75-inch goes for $3,000, and the 77-inch LG goes for $3,800. So you get a lot of size, supposedly a lot of performance for, you know, a premium price. How does it stack up? Well, we're gonna find out, but first, we gotta get to unboxing this thing because it is massive. So normally you would just remove all those clips and lift the TV box straight up. That probably won't work here. I don't think the ceilings are high enough, but besides that, there's this door. So, I mean, we're doing this together for the first time. Oh God. This is really gonna be something. Not gonna lie, I may have looked at the instructions. Whoa, hey, how's it going? We need a bigger room, for one thing, but okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. Yeah, we definitely need a bigger room.
Let's go.
Okay, now it's almost time to reveal this thing. I don't know how we're gonna lift it up. We'll figure it out. But before I do, I just want to point out to the commenter who said, why do you do unboxings? I think people know how to set up a TV. Because, man, it's half the fun is opening up the box and seeing what happens. Look at this one. Like, who knew it was gonna be such a process? I knew it was big, but good grief. Anyway, enough all that. Let's, thank you for the comments, by the way. Let's take a look at this TV. Now, if you saw the 6 Series unboxing, you know, we had these pads on the sides, which I appreciate because it makes getting this TV set up a little bit easier, but I also worry because one of the things that we saw on that 6 Series TV was there was obviously, it had done damage to the screen, I think. So hopefully that won't be the case here. But man, all right, let's get this thing out of the box and lay it down. Oh, yikes. Hey, it's okay. Here, take the box off. Oh. So, we've got some hardware here. Big, heavy, chunky stuff, and it should be because the TV's pretty heavy too. So, let me just put that down for a minute. This is the only other thing that came in the box besides the 2 big metal pieces of hardware there. So let's see what we've got. Yep. Roku remote, sure. Pretty sure there's some batteries in here, power cord, breakout cable. You know what, it's the same as the 6 Series. Almost exactly the same except for the VESA mount plugs are even bigger. And also, like the 6 Series, it looks as if we're gonna have to do some unscrewing before we get screwing. But yeah, the next thing, let's get the mount on here. So we have 3 screws here, and then there's 4 in the back panel of the television, and we just need to get these out so that we can put this bar where it belongs and then get it fixed to that bigger piece of a stand. And there's 4 of these guys here, different size from the other screws, so keep them separate. So this is kind of awkward. I'm holding this thing up with my leg, but they fit together like that, and then somehow I'm gonna have to hold it in place, get a screw placed, and kind of hand tighten to try and get some stability before pulling out the screwdriver. This is not a great design, ergonomically anyway, but I think practically we can get through it. Yeah, there we go. This part much, much easier. Just got to get it set in there correctly. Okay, maybe it's not. I still have to prop it up with my leg. Good grief. You know what? I think it's going to be worth it, though. Whew, that was some work. I don't need this anymore. Okay, TV. This has seen some action before. This is not the first time this TV's been viewed, and I know this for a few different reasons. One, the batteries were already in the remote. They're like a third of the way drained. Also, there is a little bit of damage to the stand here. By the way, this metal right here, easy to scuff up, but fortunately just wipe it with like a microfiber cloth and it goes away. Otherwise, it's an attractive TV. I do like the stand. This takes me back a few years to the way stands used to be done. It's pretty stable, but definitely secure this to the wall with a strap. You do not want this falling over on a kid or an animal or something like that. The back of the TV, I'm not going to show you because we would have had to pick it up and move it a second or third or fourth time. Not doing that. It looks exactly like the TCL 6 series, except for none of the plastic was on there to peel off. And hey, guess what? There's some HDMI ports back there. One thing I did want to point out is it's actually thinner in profile than the new 6 series, the R625 series. So I think that's probably because they're mini LEDs. I'm guessing that's why. Still not sure why the new 6 series is so much thicker than last year's. Doesn't really matter. Let's go back to the 8 series, shall we? It's time to turn this TV on, and got to kind of make a few corrections from the previous video. Here we are, already set up, and you know, the reason I didn't walk you through the whole Roku setup thing is because we've done it a bunch of times before. You really want to check it out. There is a link to the Roku Ultra unboxing and setup. You can go through the whole thing there. Anyway, the reason I wanted to skip that was because we got other stuff to do here. A couple of things to correct from the unboxing of the TCL 6 series, because you guys called me out, and you're right. You're absolutely right. The real chicken tender, I think, was the commenter that pointed out the majority of what I'm going to correct today. So I popped into Netflix, and I've pressed the star key, and this brings up our picture settings, or at least we'll get into the picture settings from here. You'll see that it's in movie mode now. That's because I've already adjusted it. But I want you to understand that all this does is adjust the picture settings for SDR mode and just for Netflix. It doesn't touch the other HDMI ports. So the Blu-ray that I have connected and the cable box, I'm gonna have to go and adjust those settings. It's also not adjusting anything for Dolby Vision or HDR mode, right? Just SDR. So I went through, it was in a terrible mode. I think it was in low power mode with like bright or brighter picture setting. It was absolutely just searing my eyeballs. I switched it to movie and then also popped into the advanced picture settings. I left the local contrast at high because I'm just getting started here. All of these settings have been left alone. Action smoothing was on, which is weird because it was not on by default on the TCL 6 series. And I have to wonder if that's because, again, I'm not the first person to touch this TV. Action clarity was also on. LED motion clarity here was actually off, so I left it that way. But the reason I bring it up is because this is where I made a little bit of a goof. LED motion clarity is black frame insertion. It is not soap opera effect in a setting as I referred to it. That actually comes from a combination of these two things. So, my mistake. Thank you, the real chicken tender. Now, let's get back to this. So, I've got SDR settings going here for pretty much anything from the Roku platform, the streaming stuff, right? I do not, however, have HDR set up yet. That's something that you have to do separately. To show you an example, we'll pop into this Dolby Vision title available on Netflix. And as you can see, we're in Dolby Vision. I'll just pause that really quick. Not quick enough, apparently. And look, we're in HDR. We have a whole bunch of new stuff that we need to pick. We've got normal, Dolby Vision, bright, Dolby Vision, dark Dolby Vision, which, by the way, changes the color temperature as well, and also disables some of the smoothing over, say, well, let's just go up to bright. You can see that's super, super cold, and we have some smoothing and stuff on. It's really weird setup. I wish that TCL did this a little bit differently, but that's how it goes. And remember, this is just for streaming services. You got to go do SDR and HDR and Dolby Vision picture settings for any of your HDMI inputs. So having set up this TV with Dan helping, of course, the number one thing I gotta say is if you buy this TV, definitely have a couple of buddies around to help you out because this thing is a monster. You might even want to just call the nerd herd and let them deal with it. Other than that, I don't like that you have to play around with the picture settings so much. I mean, with other TVs, you just pick cinema or movie mode, and it's pretty much dialed in, maybe a couple little tweaks. This is very hands-on and very involved, and if you want to like calibrate the thing properly, you got to use the Roku app, which is a whole nother ball of wax. And most people, I would say, aren't going to calibrate a TCL TV, but again, you're looking at $3,000, and you might want to get the best you can out of it, especially if you're trying to get it to compete with OLEDs. So keep that in mind. As for picture quality, well, it's doing a few things pretty well, but we'll have to wait and see until I can really put it through its paces. The review video for that is coming very soon. I promise we're going to expedite it for you, so you won't have to wait long. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. Keep the comments coming. Obviously, I pay attention. Do the best I can to respond when I can. If you don't already subscribe or like this channel, please do so, and definitely hit that notification bell so you know when I'm coming out with a new video. I got a couple more over here you might like, and as always, visit digitaltrends.com for the latest tech news and reviews.